I never thought Christmas would turn into a battlefield between my sister and my husband's ex-wife, but that's exactly what happened. And in the end, I learned just how far some people will go when jealousy starts eating them alive. I'm 38, married to Sam, who's 41. We've been together for 8 years. He has a daughter, Carrie. She's 15 now, and honestly, she's like my own. Her mom, Anne, is still in the picture, but not in the way you'd think. She travels constantly for work and only manages to visit once or twice a year. Still, whenever she's in town, Sam and I always make sure Carrie gets as much time with her as possible. No drama, no resentment, just adults trying to do what's best for the kid. But this Christmas, that plan lit a fuse I didn't even know existed. It all started when my sister Rachel called me up in early December, chirping about how she couldn't wait to come spend Christmas with us. Now, Rachel, she's a lot. Dramatic, sharp-tongued, always convinced she deserves special treatment. She's the kind of person who can make a family dinner feel like an Olympic event in emotional manipulation. I told her she was more than welcome, but warned her it'd be a tight fit this year. Anne will be in town, I said, so she'll stay in the guest suite. There was a pause on the line, and then Rachel's tone shifted. Wait, the guest suite, the one with the bathroom and TV? Yeah, I said. It's where Anne stays whenever she visits. You can take the couch, or we can set up an air mattress in the office. You'd think I'd told her she was being exiled to a dungeon. You're giving her the guest room over your own sister. She's Carrie's mom, Ratch. This is the first Christmas they've spent together in 5 years. I think it's fair. Rachel laughed, a cold, cutting little sound. Fair. You're letting your husband's ex sleep comfortably in your house while your sister sleeps on the floor. You don't see how messed up that is. I brushed it off, but that night I couldn't shake the unease her words planted. It wasn't jealousy or insecurity. Sam and Anne's history doesn't bother me. But Rachel's tone carried something poisonous. And over the next few days, she kept feeding that poison. Little comments, half jokes, whispered suspicions. You sure Anne's just here for Carrie? She still looks good for her age. Huh. I bet Sam wouldn't mind a little nostalgia while you're asleep on the couch. It was ridiculous. Sam and I have a strong marriage, but Rachel knew exactly where to poke. She's always been that kind of person. The kind who likes to watch people squirm. Still, I stayed calm. I didn't want to fight with her before Christmas. But inside, I could feel this simmering mix of irritation and disappointment. I was opening my home, planning everything, trying to make the holidays special for Carrie, and my own sister was trying to twist it into some soap opera. Then came Christmas Eve. Anne arrived with her usual grace. Smiling, warm, polite. She brought gifts for everyone, even Rachel, who greeted her with a tight, fake smile that didn't reach her eyes. We all tried to keep things light. There were cookies baking. Carrie was over the moon to have both her parents around, and Sam was glowing just watching her happiness. For a while, everything felt perfect. But Rachel couldn't stand it. Later that evening, I noticed her watching Anne and Sam from the kitchen. They were laughing about something Carrie had done as a baby, and Rachel leaned over to me and whispered, "Wow, look at that chemistry. I almost feel bad for you." Something in me snapped. I took a slow breath, trying to keep my composure. "Rachel," I said quietly, "you're being disrespectful. I invited you here to be part of this family, not to stir up drama." She just smirked. "I'm just saying what everyone's thinking." No, she wasn't. No one was thinking that. Except her. That night, after everyone went to bed, I lay awake on the couch, staring at the ceiling. I could hear the wind howling outside and faint laughter from upstairs. Sam and Anne chatting quietly in the guest suite while checking on Carrie, who had fallen asleep early. It wasn't flirtatious or secretive. Just two parents reconnecting for their child's sake. But in Rachel's mind, I knew it would become ammunition. And that's when the idea for my revenge started forming. Not the loud, vengeful kind. No screaming or confrontation. Just quiet, strategic payback that would show Rachel exactly what happens when you try to poison someone's peace. The next morning, Christmas Day, I was up early cooking breakfast. The smell of cinnamon and coffee filled the house. Everyone came down in good spirits, except Rachel, who looked hungover on her own bitterness. We opened gifts, and I made sure to make it extra warm and sentimental. Sam gave me a necklace. Carrie squealed over her new headphones and surprised everyone with custom ornaments she'd made from family photos, including one of Rachel and me from our childhood. It was sweet, thoughtful. Rachel looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. And that's when I made my move. I turned to Sam and said, "Hey, remember that thing we talked about for next year?" He smiled, catching on. "Yeah, the holiday rotation idea, right. We thought maybe next year we could host Christmas somewhere different. Invite everyone who's been part of Carrie's life. And her grandparents, maybe even some of my family. You know, a big blended celebration." Anne looked touched. Carrie beamed. Rachel froze. "Wait," she said, her voice sharp. "So this is a thing now. She's part of our family Christmas." I looked her dead in the eye. "Yes, Rachel. Because this isn't about ownership, it's about family. Real family. People who show up, who care, who don't make everything about themselves." You could have heard a pin drop. Rachel's mouth opened and closed like she wanted to argue, but nothing came out. And that's when I decided to twist the knife just a little deeper. Not out of cruelty, but to make her finally see herself. I added, Ratch, when I told you Anne was staying in the guest suite, I was thinking about Carrie, about how much she misses her mom. But now I realize maybe it wasn't just about space. Maybe it was a test, to see who actually understands what family means. Anne looked uncomfortable, Sam gave me a small nod, and Rachel just sat there red-faced, staring at her plate. She didn't say a word for the rest of breakfast. Later that day, when everyone went for a walk, she stayed behind. When I came back, her bags were packed. She said she was leaving early. Too much drama, she claimed. I didn't argue. I just smiled and said, "Drive safe." And that was it. But the real satisfaction came 2 weeks later. My cousin called me, saying Rachel had been ranting about me to the whole family, how I chose my husband's ex over my own blood. Apparently, no one took her side. Everyone agreed that letting Carrie have a Christmas with both her parents was the right thing to do. Some even told her she needed to grow up. That's when I realized my revenge was complete. I didn't have to expose her or yell or humiliate her. All I had to do was let her words and actions show people who she really was. And she did all the work for me. Now, months later, Rachel barely speaks to me. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Because peace isn't something you beg for. It's something you protect. When people try to stir chaos in your home, the best revenge isn't fighting them. It's showing them they can't touch your peace, no matter how hard they try. So if you're ever in a situation where someone's trying to make you feel small, insecure, or jealous, remember this: you don't need to stoop to their level. Just stand taller, because nothing enrages a toxic person more than your calm confidence. And as for Rachel, I have no doubt she's still stewing somewhere, telling herself I was unfair. But every time I walk past that guest suite and see Carrie smiling with her mom and dad, happy, whole, loved, I know I made the right choice. And that's a revenge I can live with. If you've ever had someone try to ruin your peace, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories where justice doesn't just show up, it shows off. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen someone pull off without saying a single word?